What's up, guys? Another TCG Pocket Concepts video for you. The last one did not do too bad, so I thought that I would make a newer one. Came up with some new cards, and I wanted to share them with you guys, so here they are. Starting off, we have this Dynamo, 50 HP, 1 energy retreat cost, weakness to fighting type. The unique thing about this card, obviously, is that you can make your opponent's active Pokemon paralyzed. I think that's a better attack than just dealing 20 damage outright. Usually that doesn't really do anything. They usually heal that damage anyways, and if they have Rocky Helmet or whatever, then it can also backfire on you. So making the opponent's active Pokemon paralyzed, considering paralyzed is so overpowered, definitely is a cool effect, and I do like this card a lot. Its evolution, Electric, has 90 HP, 2 energy retreat cost, which is not great for a lightning card or any stage 1 for that matter, but especially for a lightning card, it's not great, but it's got some unique abilities and attacks that I think that you guys will like. So Dynamotor, its ability. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic lightning energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So lightning types are very much glass cannons, right? Like they love discarding energy. Some of them discard all of their energy after attacking. So this is just allowing you to pull that energy from your discard pile back to your bench. Overspark, 2 energy, do 70 damage. If you flip heads, you're going to discard an energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon at random, disrupting their play at the same time as you are building your own. Now, obviously, 2 energy retreat cost is not great because pulling this guy out means that you kind of have to finish the game with whatever you put in next. But I do think that its ability is quite strong, and even if you don't want to ever attack with Electric, you could definitely just use its ability and just cycle through the cards that are discarding energy the most. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think the 2 energy retreat cost is too high? Do you think that Electric is overpowered, underpowered? Let me know. Next up, we have Groudon, one of my favorite Pokemon. 3 energy retreat cost is heavy, but 130 HP for a fighting type basic is kind of crazy because you're only giving up 1 point when this guy goes down, right? Weakness to grass type. So grass type is always going to be prevalent in the meta. Erica and Leaf Cape make grass decks just so much more viable than many other types. So this is a major weakness of the card, but I think it balances him fairly well. His ability, Swelling Power. So this Pokemon gets plus 10 HP for each fighting energy attached to it. I think this is such a cool concept, honestly, because if you can get like 3 or 4 energy on this guy, he's going to have like as much HP as most stage 2 EX Pokemon, making him extremely hard to take out. And even if you do, you only lose 1 point. So it is definitely a fighting card that is a bit overpowered, honestly, I'd say. Massive Rend, though, is not a great attack. This is where he kind of gets balanced out, especially since he has such a huge retreat cost. So Massive Rend, you do 70 damage, plus you can discard up to 3 energy from this Pokemon. So one thing that I want to clarify here with this card is that you don't have to discard energy, okay? If you want to, you may discard energy, so I should have written that. But if I want to go back and change it, I'm going to have to remake the whole card, so just bear with me. You may discard up to 3 energy. You don't have to. But if you do, this attack does 30 more damage for each card you discard in this way. So you're potentially going to be doing 160 damage plus, you are removing the energy or the extra HP you're going to be getting. So it kind of balances itself out in that aspect too. I don't think this card is overpowered in any sense, but I do think it's a really solid card. I mean, there are probably some really cool decks that can be built around this. Maybe if there's some sort of trainer that works with him, that would be great. But let me know what you guys think about this card as well. I mean, let me know what you guys think about every card in this video, but specifically this one, because I think this is one of those cards that I can't really tell if it would be good or not. Part of me wants to think that it would just end up being really, really bad and no one would want to run it, but I don't know. Some part of me thinks that the ability kind of makes it overpowered. Just let me know what you guys think. Next up, we have Energy Coin, okay? So this is a new item. You flip 2 coins. If both of them are heads, you choose a type of energy and attach an energy of that type to one of your Pokemon. So the idea behind this is, let's say you're running like a Suicune Sylveon deck. Obviously, you're going to be running water energy. That's a no-brainer. But whether or not you run psychic energy is honestly up to you. And Energy Coin is just one of those items. I mean, you can run 2 of these in a deck that could allow you to power up Sylveon if, worst comes to worst, without actually having to run dual type energy in your deck, which is huge, right? Because then you don't brick on energy if you're attacking with Suicune or Greninja. I think this is good. This can also really help out Dragon type decks that really do have those weird energy constraints, and it can be really, really hard to justify making a dual type deck around those odd combinations. But again, you have to flip 2 coins and both of them have to be heads, right? If it was just one, it would be way too overpowered. So I do think that making this card dependent on 2 coins kind of balances it out, because it's never going to be too overpowered, I think. I mean, on average, I don't exactly know if my math is right, but you should be hitting this like once a game, maybe. You can let me know down in the comments if if I have that right. But I mean, even if you hit this once in a game, it can be very, very useful. So I do think that this is a card that if it was released, it would be a staple of like many decks, if not every deck, just because it can accelerate energy so quickly. Moving on, we have Deoxys. Now, I love Deoxys, one of my favorite Pokemon ever. 120 HP for a Psychic is solid, especially for a basic, and a 1 energy retreat cost. This is huge for this card. I think this really makes it viable to run in Psychic type decks, because you only lose 1 point when this guy goes down, right? You can run him as a tank while you power everything else up on your bench. Now, his ability Power Suction. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't play any item cards or Pokemon tool cards from their hand. So you want to keep him in the active spot. But if you need to pull him out, he only has a 1 energy retreat cost, right? So you can run an X speed if you really want to, or even just attaching 1 energy to this guy is not bad. He also runs only colorless energy, so you don't have to run this in a Psychic type deck, which is also a huge benefit to this card. I really, really like the concept of this card, to be honest with you. I would love for this to make an appearance in the game, maybe with the numbers tweaked a little bit, but I love the idea of this card. Photon Boost is not a great attack, but again, you're doing 3 energy. It can be any type of energy. So if you have any sort of acceleration in your deck, if you have Leafeon, for example, or whatever else you have, if you're running baby Pokemon, you can start powering up Deoxys in essentially any deck. It's a very, very good card. Weakness to Darkness is not a bad thing. I mean, Darkness comes and goes. It's not really a huge part of the meta. Darkrai obviously comes to mind, but Darkrai is very easily countered, to be honest with you. Especially since they will not be able to run any item cards or tool cards from their hand. You don't have to worry about Rocky Helmet Darkrai, which is the worst thing ever in this game. And in general, you're just disrupting their plays a bit, right? They can't use potions, for example. They can't use, I don't even know what else. I think Pokeballs are items too, which is crazy. So yeah, a lot of good utility with this card, and it's a very versatile card. So maybe it's a bit overpowered, but let me know what you guys think. And if it isn't obvious, I'll be saying that a lot this video. But I do care about what you guys think, so feel free at any point to share your thoughts, whether you think these cards suck or if you think they're really good, just let me know. Next, we have a Reshiram card. Again, you can tell that I was kind of on a certain theme of 130 or 120 to 130 HP basic Pokemons. I do think that these are cooler concepts to make, because you have a lot more freedom, right? When you make an EX card, you kind of have to make it good. You have to make it versatile. You have to make it worth putting in a deck, because you're giving up 2 points, and at that point you've pretty much lost the game. But with a basic card that is not an EX, you don't have to worry about that, right? You can use these as tanks, you can use this as your main offense, and you're only losing 1 point. So that is the main driving point behind these cards. So Reshiram, obviously I've made a Reshiram in my first concepts video, I think, but this one is a bit different. So we have a 2 energy retreat cost, not great, but not the worst thing. However, that retreat cost kind of is nullified with its ability. So if this Pokemon has no energy attached, it has no retreat cost. So this is kind of encouraging you to use it as that tank while you power up your fire Pokemon. If you have no energy attached, obviously you can pull out of the active spot for free, which is huge, right? Especially for a tank that has 130 HP and only 1 point when it goes down. Its attack Righteous Flare, 70 plus damage, 2 energy, does 50 more damage for each point your opponent has taken. So it can do up to 170 if you're kind of in that losing corner of the game. So the thought process with this card obviously is, if you're lucky enough to get it in your starting hand, you put it up front, you let it take damage, you heal it just enough to be able to pull it back and out of combat, and when you're ready to attack, you kind of let it sit there on the bench. Now let's say they take out your EX. Well, over time, hopefully you can at least attach 1 energy to this card, so that when it comes into play, when that EX goes down and you're on the losing side of the game here, you can now do 170 damage for only 2 energy, which is huge. And I do think that this card is very good. I think the concept of it is cool, because you don't want to power this up right away, but you could if you really wanted to. You really could. Running 2 of these, maybe something else, maybe baby Pokemon, who knows? Running it with Magby or something like that, and letting that Magby go down so you can immediately start doing 120 damage. Maybe the numbers could be tweaked. Maybe you want to do 40 damage instead of 70, but yeah, I think it's a cool card. Now that I think about it, it's kind of overpowered, but I love the concept of it. Next, we have another Absol. If you watched the last video, you know I love Absol. 80 HP on this guy, 2 energy retreat. Darkness Revealed is the ability. If this Pokemon has any darkness energy attached and is damaged by an attack, flip a coin if heads prevent that damage. So if you just attach 1 energy to this guy, he kind of has a 50-50 of never taking damage for the rest of the game, which is huge, right? You can use this as a tank in your darkness type decks. The problem is a lot of dark type decks are hit and run decks. Right, Crobat comes to mind, Darkrai obviously. They don't really need a tank, to be honest with you. They're really relying on just being able to swap in and swap out. I do think this is a cool idea for a card. His attack Shadow Seeker, 40 damage. If this Pokemon has at least 3 extra darkness energy, it does 70 more damage. So you're doing 110 for 2 energy. Well, actually, you're doing it for 5 energy, but I don't know what I was thinking with that attack. Maybe if it started with 60 instead of 40 or 70 maybe even. But honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't really worried about the attack at all. I just really like the concept of this ability. Now, one thing, if you are a big fan of the actual TCG, you might notice is that I am pulling a lot of these abilities from the TCG. And I love doing that because the abilities and the attacks in the actual mainline TCG are so cracked. You could take any random EX from like the Scarlet and Violet era and it would be the new meta for the rest of TCG Pocket's history because that's how overpowered they are, or at least most of them are. So I love going in there and kind of trying to adapt their abilities and the attacks to TCG Pocket, which obviously runs a lot slower, has lower HP, or actually I should say runs a lot faster, not slower. Moving on, we have this Terrakion. Now, I love Terrakion. I love the Noble, whatever they're called, those 3 guys. They're great. I love them. 130 HP fighting type Pokemon, just like Groudon. 3 energy retreat, just like Groudon. So his ability Cavern Counter. So you prevent all damage from attacks done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon that have an ability. This is huge. This is just like Yveltal, sort of like Yveltal from my last video. I think this is amazing. This would make fighting so much more viable. His attack sucks balls, right? Land Crush 3 for 90 is insane, but that's not why you want him in that front line and center spot. You want him because Oricorio does nothing to him. Every EX with an ability that is broken, Giratina, Darkrai, Suicune, all the annoying cards do nothing to him. But any Pokemon that does not have an ability, which are tons, will absolutely destroy this card, right? Because you're not going to put energy on it to attack, but it's the perfect tank for that reason. The 3 energy retreat cost is huge, which kind of balances him out. You can't swap him in and out as easily, but his ability is amazing, and I'm surprised that we don't have a card like this, but I think they're kind of okay with letting Darkrai and Giratina run around a bit. Maybe with the Mega Evolutions, they're expecting everyone will jump over and just, immediately love those cards more than anything we have in the meta right now, but I guess we'll have to see at the end of this month. But this card, I really do like the concept of it. It's one of my favorites. I'd have to say it's probably my second favorite card that I've made. And that concludes all the cards that I've done. My favorite obviously being Deoxys. Let me know what you guys think. What is your favorite card that I kind of showed off here? And what changes would you make? Do you think that they're well suited for TCG Pocket? Do you think they're ass? Do you think that I should just stop making videos? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe. I'll probably be making a lot more of these because I love making these, and you gotta do what you love. Thank you for watching.